Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going through the best and worst tattoo TikToks I could find. Let's get into it. Okay, we're starting off with this one. It's very clearly someone using like a VR set to do a tattoo using the reference. At first, my initial instinct is like, that's dumb. And I couldn't imagine having on goggles while I did a tattoo. But also, maybe this isn't that far off. Like, it would be kind of nice to just like be able to look at reference while I was doing a tattoo. I think it's silly in this state. Like, I've used Oculus glasses before and I was like, got myself a stomach ache by doing it. So I don't think it's gonna be really common. But I mean, dude, how far off are we? If we want to talk about the tattoo, you know I don't like the tattoo. I'll never like the tattoo. It's more about the idea of this, and are we that far off from it? I don't know. I don't know. It is a more sanitary version of like, cause like, you know, a lot of times you have an iPad and you like saran wrap it and touch it to find the reference, but this is like as sanitary of a thing as you could possibly do. Maybe you could make an argument that the blood would get onto the glasses, but that blood would be getting on your face anyways. I don't know, just kind of a weird thing I saw and I was like, oh crap, things might change. Tattooing might change just because of like little things like this. I don't know if this is gonna be the next iPad phase. Like, you know, when iPads came around, that changed tattooing forever. Like, I think that probably 85 to 95% of tattooers use iPads today. So I think 85 to 90% are gonna be using Oculus glasses while they're tattooing. Probably not. Just a weird thing, okay? Who knows where tattooing will be? And this is one of those things that I don't necessarily hate. I just think it's kind of weird. On to the next. Okay, we're gonna just listen to that for half a second. Can't listen to much more of that, but I'm gonna read it. Your tattoo client cancels after rescheduling twice. You already rearranged your whole life, sacrificed sleep, skipped breakfast, turned down 3 solid appointments, prepped every needle like it was a sacred ritual only to get the text. That 7-word betrayal. And now you're standing there, apron on, gloves snapped, stencil printed, staring into the abyss of your spotless, empty chair, wondering if time is even real anymore. Are you a tattoo artist or are you a ghost in a tattoo studio? That was a lot of words. I had to read that. Can't believe we got through that. Look, as a tattooer, I've been in this place where like you are relying tattoo to tattoo to get to the, you know, next week. People in the world are paycheck to paycheck. Tattooers are tattoo to tattoo. Like, you're hoping you make just enough to get by, and when people ghost you, when they inconvenience you by rescheduling multiple times, it hurts. Now, as a tattooer, all of this is stuff I would never do at all. Like, I would never allow a client to reschedule twice. It's one thing if there's like a family emergency, you have to cancel, whatever, that's fine. You have to do it twice, we got issues. And I'm just pretty much not going to tattoo you, even if you have existing work. I'm not gonna tattoo you. You waste my time once, fine. You waste my time twice, that's done. We're never wasting any more of my time ever. You know, in reality, I don't ever really get ready for a tattoo unless I leave a deposit, and a pretty hefty deposit. I think I take like $150 usually, mostly because I travel, and because I'm traveling, that makes the deposit even more essential for me. But yeah, tattooers are hurting out there, and it does suck when your clients don't show up. It is a painful thing. You're like, ooh, that hurts. And it's funny as a tattooer, I think you kind of go through these phases where it's like, I got canceled on, I got canceled on, I got canceled on. And it's just like, they tend to kind of come back to back to back to back. And then you go a long stretch without getting canceled on for a long time. But yeah, if you're a tattooer out there, make sure you're doing everything possible to not let this happen to you. And that's really by, you know, taking more responsibility. Take a bigger deposit. Don't let people flake on you at all. And and things will get better. It is funny, her statement, I think it's a her, I don't really know. Is time real? No, time's not real. Don't know what time is? Not real. But are you a ghost in a tattoo shop? Don't be. Don't allow yourself to be. Do those tats. On to the next.
Walk through the room upstairs and be like, 99.999% of you guys.
This is Ami James, a nostalgic tatter for me. I think about New York Inc. I remember my dad watching New York Inc. I wasn't a big fan of the show, but I definitely have seen a few because my dad was watching it pretty consistently back when it was coming out. Was it New York Ink? No, Miami Ink, sorry. Big deal when that TV show came out. I mean, it was everywhere. I remember having friends who were tattooers much older than me who were tattooing in Miami at the same time as this TV show, and they said that it was never a better time to be a tattooer. So with all the bad that New York Ink, Miami Ink, all these shows had, they had a lot of cool stuff going on in them too.
Walk through the room upstairs and be like, 99.999% of you guys wouldn't be tattooing 30 years ago. And they're like, why? I was like, because bikers would have you. We came up in a time that had nothing to do with your talent or the amount of gift and all the shit that you brought with you from art school. You wouldn't make it. Do you think you would have been wearing a sleeve 25, 30 years ago? No, you wouldn't, because you would have been considered a convict. And then the other side, look at the talent we got now. Now it's real talent. That top 1,000 of artists, that's on a whole other level of shit. That guy just drew that shit on? And you're like, yeah, that's what we wanted to see.
That is a statement and a half, and I cannot agree more. I am only a little bit older than most of you guys watching. When I was getting into tattoos, it was still the back end of like the rowdy era. I definitely caught a fair share of things that would, you know, I've had apprentices. If they had to deal with some of the things I had to deal with, I don't know that they would have stuck around. And that doesn't really say, like, maybe they're more confident, maybe they would have stood their ground a little bit more. But back when I was first getting into tattoo shops, dudes were hard. Dudes were pretty gnarly. Especially like the older guys, they were pretty rough. And then the people who taught me how to tattoo, they had it really rough. Like they were going through wild stuff in tattoo shops. And yeah, I don't think most young tattooers would be tattooers 20 years ago. I'm not even sure if most tattooers now would have been tattooers 15 years ago. So 30, 40, when this dude was learning how to tattoo, he's probably, Ami James has got to be tattooing like 35 years, something like that. I'm sure when he was getting into it, no one was tattooing, you know, they were rough. They were rough and they were gnarly. How long has Ami James been tattooing? Let's see. So 30 years. He started tattooing when he was 15, dang. Okay, so he's been tattooing 30 years, yeah. When he was learning how to tattoo, most people would not be tattooers. You just had to be built kind of different and a little bit more rugged and a little less sensitive and not in the like, oh, tattooers you say, they're just big old pansies. Like, no, I just mean like in general, the stuff you would have had to put up with, most people would be like, that is not worth putting up with. It's just the reality. And then at the second part of this clip, he says like how amazing tattooers are these days. Like, damn, that is such a true statement. I have gone back and looked at tattooers that I was really fond of 15 years ago, and now they don't even stand a chance, most of them. Like, they're just the normal type of tattooer. Like, the level of talent that's flooding into tattooing is insane. Like, you have to be a killer right off the bat just to pay your bills. So, yeah. Everything he said is true. I like him. I think that a lot of the New York Ink stuff was crap, but whatever. Hey, it probably helped tattooing in a lot of ways and hurt tattooing too. It's all good. On to the next. It says, jealous? I make your monthly salary in a year just by drawing. This cracked me up. Because I read it the first time and I was like, dude, what a douche. Like, I read it like most of you guys would probably read it. I make your yearly salary in a month. I don't know why I flipped those around, just because you wouldn't expect someone to be bragging about not making money. But I think this is like the type of marketing that makes me laugh. I go, yeah, that's true. Because in tattooing, we've seen so many people be like, how to make $1 million in 1 year. And you're like, just if you're a tattooer, you know that's not physically possible. Like I was thinking about this the other day, like what is the actual amount of money tattooers could make just tattooing, not being a business owner, not being a shop owner, not doing anything other than tattooing. No mentorship crap, no nothing. You're just a tattooer. And if you wanted to make $1 million a year tattooing, you'd have to make right around $4,000 to $5,000 a day if you work 5 days a week. That's just not happening. There might be one tattooer who's making $20,000 a week, and that's not consistent. I guarantee it. Like tattooers talking about being millionaires in just as tattooers, so not realistic. It blows my mind how often people bring it up. Like people will market like, go from making $13 tattoos to $13 million a year. And you're like, shut up, dude. You're not making $1 million a month, okay? Tattooing is a privilege, and unfortunately, for that privilege, you're not gonna be maxing out like the high end of income. You're gonna do fine, a lot of them are crushing, you know. More than likely, if you wanna learn how to tattoo, you're going to be making someone's monthly salary in a year. Like that, you know, that's just realistic. On to the next. My first piercing and my 16th tattoo. Does he have the Sons of Anarchy tattoo? Or is he a biker? Is he a biker or does that say Sons of Anarchy? That'd be hilarious. It says, I bite on the throat in real, what's that? Ignorant style. Looks like garbage, okay? Just straight line work on the throat very rarely is gonna look nice because like all this skin, it's not meant to be single pass tattooed. You know, it looks rough. But it says, I bite, makes me, what a goofball. What a goofball. I mean, that does say Sons of Anarchy on his chest. So he's got a Sons of Anarchy tattoo. Is that a Sons of Anarchy tattoo? Oh my gosh. Oh, it is. It is. It so is. Okay. Yeah. I mean, this is a keyboard warrior with his Sons of Anarchy tattoo. Oh my gosh. So wild. But I bite, also a bad tattoo. That's it. That's all I got. We got a twofer. A goofball tattoo and then another goofball tattoo. I bite on the throat. Rough. Next. That looks like a prison tattoo done in a tattoo shop. You know, one of the best things about social media is that we get to share our work. The worst thing about social media is that you get to share your work. Like sometimes you should not be sharing your work. That is rough looking, okay? Super sketchy, barely in the skin, looks like it was done with a single needle in not the kind of coolest way. There is like part of me, look, I know a handful of tattooers who do like fine lines, scratchy looking stuff, and it's meant to look cool somehow, and somehow the way they take photos and edit the picture and make it look cool. This is not cool, right? And honestly, I think that like scratchy tattoos at any level is not cool, even if it's supposed to look like it's like Chicano or prison style type of tattooing, is not good, right? Not good. I think about Greg Irons a lot. Greg Irons is a tattooer, I believe in the 80s, and he did this like almost prison style type of tattooing, like pencil-y looking stuff, and it's so cool, right? Like the designs are so cool, but like when you see people try and tattoo it today, I just go like, it doesn't look right very often. You know, maybe it's because the illustrations aren't cool enough to be Greg Ironsy, but yeah, this is like, I know that this is just a bad tattoo, but it's stirring up a lot of emotion and a lot of thought in my head because I'm like, oh, there is this like prison style that has like skulls and flames and all this stuff that is so cool, and this is just not it, obviously. It just looks like a pile of crap. It just looks like hot turd, right? On to the next. Okay, what do we got here? 3 artists, 1 tattoo, and this thing will fade away into oblivion because they don't use enough contrast and they're not using enough black, and the colors they're using are super light. It's funny how one side of this tattoo has a ton of black, which is like by the hair and the eyes, but the rest of the tattoo is just like this blank slate of color. And those colors are not reliable. For the love of God, they're never reliable. And I look at this tattoo and I go, God, it's so pretty, right? I don't like it. Like aesthetically, it's not my favorite, whatever, you know that. But it could have been so pretty. Instead, they chose these whites, these grays, these yellows, these colors that tend to fade, and you know it's just gonna fade into oblivion. Now, this person, I always think like, how do they convince themselves to tattoo like this? Or how do they convince themselves to get tattoos like this? And every time I go, oh, they think that they're special. Like their skin is somehow better than everyone else's skin. So it just really takes on color. And it just takes on color for a long time, more than other people. And that's why they get tattoos like this. And the reality is like, color does not care what kind of skin you have. If you give it a long enough time frame, it's gonna fade away into nothing. Maybe this guy is like, I'm never gonna be in the sun. Clearly, I like to be in the sun. I'm a little sunburned. But if you don't go in the sun, it doesn't matter. Your skin will still, like, that color will still fade, and the details that are all so beautiful right now will fade into nothing. I do not understand why these tattoos get tattooed like this. And I think that it is like, if this customer knew that in 20 years this tattoo would be degraded 50%, do you think they still get the tattoo? Do you think they still spend all that money? Do you still think they spend all that pain getting a tattoo like this if they know it's not gonna look good in 15 to 20 years? I don't think so. On to the next. Okay, we got Jeff Davison. Jeff Davis. He tattoos without stencils. It's crazy. I've featured him on this channel a million times. Right now, he's fixing a snake, spider web, straight razor on a guy's face. Now, there's a few things here. One, snake is a pile of crap. Luckily, it's gonna be reworked by this guy, but it was a very dumb way to put a snake. Plus, it's so muddy looking. Now, how do you fix a tattoo that looks like this? You use a lot of black. That's how you do it. You use a ton of black and you really get that contrast as much as possible. And then you put really light colors into it and you hope it covers up well enough. Will it look perfect forever? Probably not. Is it gonna look better than whatever this pile of crap is he currently has? Yes. Yes, it looks very bad. And the tattoo still doesn't look that great. But Jeff Davis made it look a million times better than whatever it was. For me, the design is so flawed. Like having a spider web come here and then having the straight razor back here and then having the snake, it's like 3 elements that make a very bad looking tattoo. Is it reworked in a better way? Of course, like I've said, but still, like when you're designing stuff, when you're getting stuff tattooed, don't put too much of anything in a tattoo. This has like 3 different elements and really none of them go together. Maybe you could do a straight razor and a snake and it'll look all right. I don't think that's a great image, but you could do that. Maybe you could do a straight razor and a spider web. You could definitely do a snake and a spider web, but all 3 of them together just comes out to this muddy pile of crap around the ear. Looks so much better after Jeff did this tattoo. Obviously, he's a master, knows how to do tattoos like this and knows how to fix up tattoos pretty well. Even with no stencil, it came out great. So yeah, wild men doing wild things, no stenciling. Even like on a tattoo like this, I wouldn't stencil it, but I would have a very clear idea of what I was gonna tattoo around it. I probably would draw it on Sharpie before I ever did it. Crazy. Next. You just unlocked a rare gap filler. Okay, let's stop, look at that tattoo. I hate this tattoo. I'm gonna guess because I know what's about to happen. The client hates this tattoo too, but yeah, it just looks really spaced out and it kind of took up all these different spaces and none of it looks good. Painful tattoo right there. And so you get this scratchy blackout thing. How do I feel about this? I like it more. That's not saying anything though. Do I like this for most people? Absolutely not. Does it maybe only work for this particular tattoo? Yes, probably. I usually hate this type of tattoo where it's like really scratchy looking. This might kind of work in a weird way, but yeah, I don't know. It definitely looked like crap to begin with. It still kind of looks like crap, but at least it's a cooler looking pile of crap, I think. Yeah, I think that's where we're gonna go with that. The original sleeve, crap. This kind of crap, I kind of like it more. So I guess mission accomplished, right? Like, yeah, hey, I'm gonna give it an A for effort and a C for visual. I don't like it, but I like it. Weird. Weird, weird, weird. I think that's what the tattoo was supposed to be. On to the next. This is a good one. Michael Rossetti, one of my favorite tattooers. So sick. This is a Tengu, I forgot what it was called for a second. Tengu mask, so cool. Like that red is so strong and so vibrant. I really love that they left like the hair as all white. They didn't tattoo anything into it. They just left it free. And it looks like he even gray lined it, which just looks amazing. Super cool. I like the green. It's not a green I would normally use. It's like that evergreen, I think is what they usually call that. It's not my favorite green, but in this tattoo, it looks phenomenal. I can't debate it. Looks amazing. Michael Rossetti, one of the best to ever do it. So cool. So simple and strong and everything a good tattoo should be. Yeah, I just want to look at it some more. It's giving me tat boners. On to the next. Okay, you get your ex's name cover up to pop out for the summer. That is rough. A chess piece, a queen chess piece. Now, most people who don't play chess don't know that that's the queen. It looks like the queen to me. I'm pretty sure it is. I play chess a fair amount, and that looked like an awful pile of crap tattoo. I hate it. I don't like it. I don't want to see it anymore. That was a bad idea, and like that's the thing with cover-ups in certain areas. Like when it's on the pinky, what do you cover it up with? The only way to get rid of it really is to black it out and put like a line through it. That is essentially what we're seeing. They're pretending like it's a chess piece or something like that. No one can tell. No one can tell that a silhouette of a chess piece is a chess piece. It looks like a hot pile of crap. And I literally only know it's the queen or a chess piece at all because I've been obsessed with chess over the past few months. That is it. Such an awful, blacked out thing. This thing should have got lasered and honestly can't even tell what name it is. So like, one, don't get names tattooed in here. They look like crap. Two, don't get your boyfriend's name tattooed on you, especially on your finger. Three, when you're doing a cover-up, don't, okay? You made a bad decision by getting your boyfriend's name tattooed. You made a bad decision by getting it on the inside of your finger. You made another bad decision with this cover-up, and you're gonna make another bad decision whether you get it lasered or if you get it touched up or whatever. It looks like a horrendous pile of crap. Do not get tattoos like this. I don't feel bad. I think sometimes people are like, should you feel bad about this? No, these are decisions people made. That is a crappy decision from start to finish. On to the next. One of my best friends in the world sent me this clip and he was like, hey, is this guy being a dick or is he right? And so we're gonna listen to it and I'm gonna let you guys decide.
So recently I had to let 2 tattooers go from my tattoo studio. And really, to be honest with you, they fired themselves. I didn't even have to fire them. And here's the deal. They were running little pop-up tattoo studios all over town, tattooing with my tattoo supplies, and they were not paying me a percentage. Now, I realize there are people out there that are like, well, they're independent contractors, they can do whatever they want. And that is true. They can do whatever they want. And that's why they no longer work at my tattoo studio. So let me just say this plainly. If you work at a tattoo shop and you choose to tattoo in the town in which you work without talking to the owner first, there's a good chance the owner will consider it stealing. I considered it stealing business from my studio. In fact, I told them so, and they continued to do it. And the fact of the matter is that I need to protect my business. I need to take care of my own personal business. And so what happened? These guys had the balls to do a pop-up tattoo studio just blocks from my shop while I was on vacation. Like I wouldn't even know what was going on. Well, I did. And before I had a chance to fire them, they moved out. Well, let's fast forward. A few days later, now one's doing one right around the corner from my tattoo shop today. And it's most likely illegal, and it's out of a bar, and this bar is a neighbor of my business, and I just got to say, you know what? I try to treat my neighbors fairly. I try to look out for their businesses. But if you're going to treat me like this as a neighbor, I won't forget it.
Okay, so there's a handful of things we have to talk about here. To me, I totally agree with everything this guy says. And let me try and break it down a little bit differently than he did because I don't think he fully gets through to the point. First off, if you're taking supplies from my studio and you're tattooing with that supplies that I pay for outside of my tattoo shop, that is 100% stealing. Like there's no question or doubt. I don't care if you're an independent contractor, an employee, whatever. If you're taking it out of my shop and not giving me money for it, nobody in the world would ever see that as not stealing. So for that reason, I would definitely fire these people. 100%. Not even a question. If they were taking stuff from me and tattooing with it, no doubt. 100% stealing without a doubt. Crazy. Crazy that that's even debatable, that anyone would care what term you use to call them, whether it's an independent contractor or not. Whatever. Crazy. So that part is real, right? You steal my supplies as an owner, you're gonna get fired no matter what. I also think that there's a part of this that is kind of really hard to explain, and I'm gonna try and explain it not as a tattoo shop owner, but as a tattooer. And let's pretend like I was still working at other people's tattoo shops that own spaces and whatever. okay? I just am an independent contractor at someone else's tattoo shop, right? And I'm tattooing my clients, right? And I say, hey, just so you know, I can tattoo you out of my house, just don't tell anybody. And even if I bought that supplies that I'm using at my house, I am still stealing from that tattoo shop. And this is why. There is a very good chance that I made that client because of the tattoo shop. And it's either from their Instagram, from their Yelp reviews, their Google reviews, word of mouth, like, hey, that's a great shop, go to this shop. And then at the end of that, I start tattooing them and I'm doing my job well because I'm a good independent contractor and they keep coming back to me and they keep coming back. And then eventually I say, hey, I'll just tattoo you out of my house. But when I tattoo them out of my house, I'm not giving anything back to the shop anymore, right? I'm essentially stealing because how did that client find me? More than likely it was through that shop. And if the shop is doing a good job of marketing, if they've been around for a long time, they found me through that shop. Now, in today's age, you could be like, well, they might have found you just from your own Instagram. And I go like, hey, yeah, that's possible. But also, they started getting tattooed by you at that shop, right? And so they probably like that you were a professional tattooer tattooing out of a good, well-known tattoo shop. So either way you put it, once I start tattooing outside of that shop and I'm not giving anything back to that shop, I'm stealing from them. Somehow, some way. You cannot argue this. And you can be like, I was an independent contractor for a long time. I understand that we want to pretend like we are somehow not employees. I get that. You're still virtually an employee. Sorry. I'm sorry. You don't like it. I didn't like it when I was a tattooer, but I understood it. The reality is like, would I tattoo as much if that shop didn't exist? Probably not. So therefore, if I take clients out of that shop and I tattoo them at home, it's stealing. No matter what, I don't care. That is all I've got for today. I hope you had a good one. I'll talk to you soon.